San Andreas is a 2015 American disaster thriller film directed by Brad Peyton and written by Carlton Cuse, with Andre Fabrizio and Jeremy Passmore receiving story credit. The film stars Dwayne Johnson in the lead role, with Carla Gugino, Alexandra Daddario, Yohan Gruffyard, Archie Punjabi, and Paul Giamatti. Its plot centers on a massive earthquake caused by the San Andreas Fault that devastates the west coast of the United States. Principal photography of the film started on April 22, 2014, in Queensland, Australia, and wrapped up on July 28 in San Francisco. The film premiered in Hollywood, Los Angeles, on May 26, 2015, and was released in the United States on May 29. It received mixed reviews from critics, who praised the visual effects and Johnson and Gugino's performances but criticized the plot and characters. The film grossed $474 million worldwide on a $110 million budget. Plot: a Caltech seismologist, Dr. Lawrence Hayes, and his colleague Dr. Kim Park are at Hoover Dam to test a new earthquake prediction model when a previously unknown nearby fault ruptures and triggers a MW 7.1 earthquake that collapses the dam. Park sacrifices himself to save a young girl and is swept away by the water. Hayes discovers that the entire San Andreas Fault is shifting and will soon cause a chain reaction of massive earthquakes that will potentially destroy cities along the fault line. He begins racing to warn the population along with his students Alexi and Phoebe, reporter Serena Johnson, and her cameraman Dylan. When a MW 9.1 earthquake devastates Los Angeles, Ray Gaines, a chief rescue helicopter pilot of the Los Angeles Fire Department who is going through a divorce from his wife, Emma, finds himself rescuing her from a skyscraper in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, their daughter Blake has been visiting San Francisco with Emma's new boyfriend, Daniel Riddick, who is a renowned engineer and builder. She meets Ben Taylor, a British engineer seeking employment at Daniel's firm, and Ben's younger brother, Ollie. As Daniel and Blake begin to drive out of the building, a similar magnitude earthquake strikes the city. Rubble from the collapsing parking garage pins her in Daniel's car. Daniel leaves Blake to find help, but then panics and ultimately abandons her in an act of cowardice. Ben and Ollie rescue Blake, take her to Chinatown, and call her parents for help. Ray and Emma attempt to reach San Francisco in Ray's helicopter, but it suffers a gearbox failure, which forces them to make an emergency landing at a shopping mall in Bakersfield. Amid chaos and looting, Ray steals a truck to continue the journey. The pier is waved down by an elderly couple whose car has broken down on the side of the road, stopping them from falling into the San Andreas Fault, which has torn a large fissure through the highway, creating a canyon that now extends into the far distance in both directions. Ray and Emma exchange the truck for a small airplane that the couple owns. As they fly towards San Francisco, they reminisce about their other daughter, Mallory, who drowned several years ago. As Blake, Ben, and Ollie attempt to reach Nob Hill to signal them after finding their previous meeting point at Coy Tower engulfed in flames, Ray and Emma parachute into AT&T Park just before a MW 9.6 quake hits, which becomes the largest recorded earthquake in history. As the quake subsides, having destroyed much of the city, Ray and Emma commandeer a boat to reach the group, only to realize that a tsunami is approaching San Francisco Bay. Alongside a handful of other survivors in boats and small ships, they cross the wave before it crests, barely avoiding a container ship caught up in the tsunami wave. The ship crashes into the Golden Gate Bridge's center span, killing everyone on the bridge, including Daniel, who is crushed by a falling shipping container. The tsunami strikes the already ruined city, capsizing a cruise ship and killing thousands more. Blake, Ben, and Ollie enter the gate, a building whose construction Daniel had been overseeing, but they are still caught by the tsunami. As the building begins to collapse, trapping Blake underwater, Ray dives in, rescues her, and performs CPR. Emma crashes the boat through a window and drives the five of them out of the collapsing building as Ray resuscitates Blake. The survivors regroup at a relief camp on the other side of the bay. where the reconciled Ray and Emmett talk about their future. On the remains of the Golden Gate Bridge, an American flag unfurls and gives hope that the city will recover and rebuild. Rescue vehicles descend on the destroyed landscape of the San Francisco Bay Area. The San Francisco Peninsula has been turned into an island, and San Francisco Bay now extends from San Jose to Santa Cruz. Cast: Dwayne Johnson as Raymond Ray Gaines, a chief rescue helicopter pilot with the Los Angeles Fire Department. Carla Gugino as Emma Gaines, Ray's estranged wife. Alexandra Daddario as Blake Gaines, Ray and Emma's daughter. Ioan Gruffudd as Daniel Riddick, Emma's boyfriend and the owner of a civil engineering firm. Archie Punjabi as Serena Johnson, a news reporter. Paul Giamatti as Dr. Lawrence Hayes, a Caltech seismologist. Hugo Johnstone-Burt as Ben Taylor, Ollie's older brother, an English engineer and Blake's love interest. Art Parkinson as Ollie Taylor, Ben's younger brother. Will Yoon Lee as Dr. Kim Park, a Caltech seismologist, and Lawrence's research partner and closest friend. Kylie Minogue as Susan Riddick, Daniel's sister. Alec Utgoff as Alexi, Lawrence's student. Todd Williams as Marcus Crowlings, a fellow Los Angeles Fire Department rescue worker and helicopter winch operator. Marissa Neatling as Phoebe, Lawrence's student. Matt Gerald as Harrison Rhodes, a fellow Los Angeles Fire Department rescue worker and helicopter co-pilot. Colton Haynes as Joby O'Leary, a Los Angeles Fire Department rescue helicopter and rope climbing winchman. Arabella Morton as Mallory Gaines, Ray and Emma's other daughter and Blake's sister, who drowned in a rafting accident. Flashback. Morgan Griffin as Natalie. Brianne Hill as Larissa, a waitress. Julian Shaw as Stoner. John Reynolds as Daniel's driver. Hugh Francis as Daniel's assistant. Brad McMurray as Riddick building security guard. Ben McKibber as Dylan, Serena's cameraman. Joey Vieira as a man in parking garage. Production. Development. On December 1, 2011, it was announced that New Line Cinema was developing an earthquake disaster film, San Andreas, 3D. From a script by Jeremy Passmore and Andre Fabrizio 25, Alan Loeb polished the script. On June 5, 2012, the studio set Brad Peyton to direct the film. 6 On July 18, 2012, New Line tapped Carlton Cuse to rewrite the script for the earthquake disaster film. 7 On July 18, 2013, The Conjuring writers Carrie Hayes and Chad Hayes were tapped by the studio to rewrite the film again. 8 The film was also produced by New Line and Village Roadshow Pictures, along with Flint Picture Company and Australian Limited Village Roadshow. 9. Casting. On October 14, 2013, Dwayne Johnson closed a deal to star in the film to play the role of a helicopter pilot searching for his daughter after an earthquake. 10 On February 4, 2014, Alexandra Daddario joined the cast. 11 On March 12, 2014, Carla Gugino joined the cast and reunited with Dwayne Johnson, with whom she starred in Race to Witch Mountain and Faster. 12 On March 14, 2014, Game of Thrones actor Art Parkinson joined the film's cast. 13 On April 1, 2014, Archie Punjabi joined the earthquake film. 14 On April 5, 2014, Todd Williams also joined the film, to play Marcus Crowlings, an old army friend of Johnson's character. 15 On April 15, 2014, Colton Haynes was added to the cast of the film. 16 On April 29, Ioan Gruffudd joined the cast of the film. Gruffudd played Daniel Riddick, a wealthy real estate developer who is dating Johnson's character's estranged wife. 17 On May 28, Will Yoon Lee joined the cast to play Dr. Kim Park, the co-director of the Caltech Seismology Lab in the film. 18 On June 11, Australian singer and actress Kylie Minogue joined the film to play Gruffudd's sister. 19. Filming. Second unit filming on Queen Street in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia on June 22, 2014. On December 17, 2013, Variety reported that the film would be shot at Village Roadshow Studios in Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia. 9. The production was set to start in April 2014 in Queensland, with locations including Ipswich, various suburban locations across the Gold Coast, and Brisbane. 10:20 On March 20, 2014, it was announced that Gods of Egypt had started production in Australia, and San Andreas was set to begin soon after. 21 On April 16, 2014, Johnson tweeted photos from the training for the film. 22:23. Filming began on April 22, 2014, in Australia and was also shot in the Los Angeles area, Bakersfield, and San Francisco. 24:25 On May 12, shooting took place in the Lockyer Valley. 26 On May 10 to 11, shooting was taking place in Los Angeles and then production went back to Australia to complete the rest of shooting. 27 On May 17, second unit was filming scenes in Bakersfield where a helicopter was spotted, and Johnson was busy in Gold Coast. 28 On June 22, the crew was spotted filming disaster scenes on Elizabeth Street in Brisbane. 29. Filming outside AT&T Park. The film's second unit started shooting on July 8, in San Francisco, and the first unit began shooting on July 21, wrapping up on July 27. 30 On July 15 to 16, first unit was filming at Fisherman's Wharf, and a second unit was also filming on the Embarcadero on July 16. 31 On July 21, the filming was taking place at AT&T Park, where the crew shot a scene during a San Francisco Giants game. 32 On July 22, they filmed an earthquake with fake victims and fake garbage at Hyde and Lombard Streets, on Russian Hill. 33 On July 23, crews were filming disaster scenes in the Armory. 34 On July 26, they filmed some scenes near the Fairmont Hotel, with the last day of filming spent shooting on the California Street in the Financial District. 35 Wrapping up filming on July 27, 2014. Visual effects. The visual effects are provided by Hydraulics, Cinesite, and Image Engine and supervised by Greg and Colin Strauss, Holger Voss and Martin Culpit with help from Scanline VFX and Method Studios. 36. Music. On July 24, 2014, it was announced that Andrew Lockington would be composing the music for the film. 37. 3 teasers were revealed, and 2 of them included Robot Cook and Delia de France and SIA singing California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas release. San Andreas premiered on May 26, 2015, at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles. 40 It was initially scheduled for a 2D and 3D release on June 5, 2015. 41 but was later moved up a week. 42 San Andreas was also released in Dolby Vision, making it Warner Brothers Pictures' first film to adopt the format. 43. Home media. San Andreas was released as a digital download, and on Blu-ray and DVD on October 13, 2015. 44 Upon its first week of release on home media in the US, the film topped the Nielsen Video Scan First Alert chart, which tracks overall disc sales, and debuted at number 2 at the Blu-ray disc sales chart with 40% of unit sales coming from Blu-ray, a surprisingly low ratio given the film's over-the-top special effects. It was blocked by the Diamond Edition Blu-ray disc edition of the 1992 Disney animated classic Aladdin. 45 As of 2016, it is available in 4K UHD Blu-ray. 46. Box office. San Andreas grossed $155.2 million in the United States and Canada and $319.4 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $475 million. For Deadline Hollywood calculated the film's net profit as $88.07 million, accounting for production budgets, marketing, talent participations, and other costs. Box office grosses and home media revenues placed it 18th on their list of 2015's most valuable blockbusters. 47 as of July 2022, the film remained the highest-grossing live-action Hollywood original film. 48. North America. San Andreas opened in North America across 3,777 theaters, including a total of 3,200 3D locations. 49 Several days prior to the film's release, various box office pundits were predicting a $40 million or more opening in North America. 350 It made $3.1 million from Thursday night showings, 51 and $18.2 million on its opening day. 52-53 It earned $54.5 million in its opening weekend, which was well above the tracking and predictions. 54-55 It was Johnson's biggest opening as a lead actor, surpassing the $36 million debut of his The Scorpion King in 2002 even after adjusting for inflation. 56 Warner Brothers distribution chief Dan Feldman commented about the successful opening, saying that audiences never get tired of disaster films, even going back to The Poseidon Adventure, 1972. He added, "What also gets tiring is when you start to do sequels of the same thing. It needs to be fresh, and you have to have the right chemistry in the cast," pointing out the originality of the film, and the performances of Johnson and the other cast, as some of the factors behind the film's successful opening. 55 In its second weekend, it experienced a drop of 52%, earning an estimated $26.4 million, falling in second place, behind Spy, but experiencing a smaller fall than that of other disaster movies. 57. Outside North America. Outside North America, the film opened in a total of 60 countries in the same weekend, including France, the United Kingdom, Mexico, and Australia. 58 It opened Wednesday, May 27 in 4 countries, added 38 countries on Thursday and 18 more countries on Friday, May 29, 59 and through Sunday, May 31 earned a 5-day opening weekend total of $63.9 million from 15,420 screens in 60 countries, debuting at first place in 55 of those countries as well as at the international box office. 60 In its second weekend, it added $97.7 million. 61 It topped the box office outside of North America for 2 consecutive weekends before being overtaken by Jurassic World in its third weekend. 61 It had the biggest opening for a disaster movie and second biggest for Warner Brothers in Mexico with $10.1 million from 3,100 screens. 60 In China, it had a 3-day opening weekend of $35 million, 62 and 6-day opening total of $51.8 million from 8,795 screens. 61 Although Chinese box office analyst site Int Group reported a $55 million opening. 63 Despite health concerns over the MERS virus. 64 Which resulted in the plunge of theater admissions. 65 The film opened to $7.2 million in South Korea, including Wednesday sneaks, and topped the box office. 61 66 It had similar successful openings in the UK, Ireland, and Malta, $7.2 million, Russia, and the CIS, $5.3 million, Brazil, $3.2 million, France, $3.1 million, India, $2.5 million, Australia, $2.4 million, Hong Kong, $2.2 million, and Germany, $2 million. 60-61 It became Warner Brothers' highest-grossing film of all time in Mexico, Chile, Colombia, Peru, and Venezuela, and in China it is the 4th highest. 67-68 As of June 28, 2015 in total earnings, its largest market outside of North America are China, $103.2 million, and Mexico, $28.4 million. 69. Reception. On Rotten Tomatoes, a review aggregator, the film has an approval rating of 48% based on 253 reviews and an average rating of 5.2/10. The website's critical consensus reads, "San Andreas has a great cast and outstanding special effects, but amidst all the senses-shattering destruction, the movie's characters and plot prove less than structurally sound." 70. On Metacritic, the film has a score of 43 out of 100 based on 42 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 71 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale. 72. IGN awarded it a score of 7.5 out of 10, saying, "There are some cracks in the foundation, but San Andreas is solid popcorn fare thanks to sharp visuals and The Rock." 73. Writing in Variety, Andrew Barker wrote, "Of the many charges that can be levied against Brad Payton's San Andreas, false advertising is not one of them. The disaster pic promises nothing more than the complete CGI destruction of California as foregrounded by Dwayne Johnson's jackfruit-sized biceps, and it delivers exactly that." 74. Andrew O'Hahir wrote in Salon, "Considered as pure spectacle, San Andreas is gripping and effective, as well as a somewhat interesting form of counter-narrative, a vision of near-term apocalypse that has nothing to do with climate change, monsters, or alien invaders." 75. Entertainment Weekly's critic Chris Nashawati wrote, "As patently preposterous, scientifically dubious, and unapologetically corny as director Brad Payton's orgy of CGI devastation is, its popcorn prophecy of the inevitable is a blast of giddy, disposable fun." 76. Nicholas Al wrote in the San Francisco Chronicle, "Some movies are easy to mock, but hard to resist. This is one of them." 77. The American Geosciences Institute's Earth magazine called the film dreadful from a scientific perspective and criticized it for perpetuating geologic absurdities, also pointing out that despite the notoriety of the San Andreas Fault, it is not the greatest seismic threat to the Bay Area, with the nearby Hayward Fault having the potential to cause immense damage to bridges, roads, utilities and communications with a smaller magnitude quake due to its proximity to areas of dense urban population. While a full rupture along the Cascadia subduction zone would be the worst disaster of U.S. history, 78, a rupture along the Hayward Fault would affect a much smaller area where the impact on the urban infrastructure could be mitigated by retrofitting, enforcement of seismic building codes and other preparedness measures. 79. Accolades. At the 2015 Teen Choice Awards, San Andreas was nominated for Choice Movie, Action. Daddario and Johnson received a nomination for Choice Movie Actress, Action and Choice Summer Movie Star, Male, respectively. 80. It garnered nominations for Outstanding Visual Effects in a Photoreal Feature, Outstanding Effects Simulations in a Photoreal Feature, earned 2, and Outstanding Compositing in a Feature Motion Picture at the 14th Visual Effects Society Awards. 81. Johnson was nominated for Best Action Performance and Best Hero at the 2016 MTV Movie Awards. 82. Sequel. In February 2016, New Line announced that a sequel is in development, and its plot will reportedly focus on the Ring of Fire. Neil Widener and Gavin James were hired as screenwriters, while Brad Payton and Beau Flynn will return as director and producer, respectively. Johnson is set to reprise his role, while Gugino, Daddario, and Giamatti are expected to return as well. Johnson and Payton were announced to serve as producers. 83-84. In July 2021, Daddario expressed her doubts that a sequel was happening. 85. In November 2021, Johnson announced that they are still developing the sequel, while stating that scheduling conflicts are why the production has not started yet. 86. He elaborated that his studio looks for projects that have what they internally call the Moses effect, explaining that this means that they take immediate precedence over the rest of the many projects on their film slate, stating that he feels like the sequel falls into this category. 87. In December 2021, Hiram Garcia confirmed that Warner Bros. Pictures wants a sequel, while 7 Bucks Productions delayed development in favor of other projects. Dwayne Douglas Johnson, born May 2, 1972, also known by his ring name The Rock, is an American actor and professional wrestler. He is signed to WWE, where he performs on a part-time basis. Widely regarded as one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, 6'7" Johnson was integral to the development and success of the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, now WWE, during the Attitude Era. He wrestled for the WWF full-time for 8 years before pursuing an acting career. His films have grossed over $14.9 billion worldwide, making him one of the world's highest-grossing and highest-paid actors. 9, 10, 11 He is a co-owner of the United Football League. 12, 13, 14 A member of the board of directors of TKO Group Holdings, the parent company of UFC and WWE. 15, 16, 17 and co-founder of 7 Bucks Productions. 18. After accepting an athletic scholarship to play football at the University of Miami, Johnson was a member of the 1991 national championship team but was largely a backup player. 19 Despite aspirations to professional football, he went undrafted in the 1995 NFL Draft, and briefly signed with the Calgary Stampeders before being cut in his first season. 20 In 1996, his father assisted in helping him secure a contract with the WWF. 1 Johnson quickly rose to global prominence, aided by a gimmick he employed as a charismatic trash talker. Johnson left the WWE in 2004, he returned in 2011 as a part-time performer until 2013 and made sporadic appearances from there on until his retirement in 2019-21. In 2023, he returned once again on a part-time basis. A 10-time world champion including the promotion's first of African American descent. 22 He is also a 2-time Intercontinental Champion, a 5-time Tag Team Champion, the 2000 Royal Rumble winner, and WWE's 6th Triple Crown Champion. Johnson headlined multiple pay-per-view events, including WWE's flagship event WrestleMania 6 times, 15, 16, 17, 28, 29, and 40, Night 1, which includes the most bought professional wrestling pay-per-view, WrestleMania 28, and main event the most watched episodes of WWE's flagship television series, Raw and SmackDown. 23-24. Johnson's first film role was in The Mummy Returns, 2001. The next year, he played his first leading role in the action fantasy film The Scorpion King. He has since starred in family films The Game Plan, 2007, Race to Witch Mountain, 2009, Tooth Fairy, 2010, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, 2017, Jumanji, The Next Level, 2019, and Jungle Cruise, 2021, and the action films Journey to The Mysterious Island, 2012, G.I. Joe, Retaliation, 2013, Hercules, 2014, Skyscraper, 2018, San Andreas, 2015, and Rampage, 2018. He also starred in the action comedy films Get Smart, 2008, Central Intelligence, 2016, Baywatch, 2017, and Red Notice, 2021. His role as Luke Hobbs in the Fast and Furious films, beginning with Fast 5, 2011, helped the franchise become one of the highest grossing in film. 25 He joined the DC Extended Universe by playing the title role in Black Adam, 2022. 26 He has also voiced Maui in the Disney animated film Moana, 2016, and its sequel Moana 2, 2024, and will reprise the role in the 2026 live-action remake. Johnson produced and starred in the HBO comedy drama series Ballers, 2015 to 2019, 27 and the autobiographical sitcom Young Rock, 2021 to 2023. His autobiography, The Rock Says, was released in 2000 and was a New York Times bestseller. 28-29 In 2016 and 2019, Time named him as one of the world's most influential people. 30-31. Early life and education. As a senior at Freedom High School in Bethlehem Township, Pennsylvania, Johnson was a member of the school's football, track, and field, and wrestling teams when, he says, his thought process started to change. That's when I started thinking about goals and what I wanted to accomplish. Johnson was born in Hayward, California 3233 on May 2, 1972-34, the son of former professional wrestler Rocky Johnson, born Wade Douglas Bowles, 3536, and Matanyafigai Maliata Adafida Semanu, ne Mavia. 3738. Growing up, he briefly lived in Grey Lynn in Auckland, New Zealand, with his mother's family. 39, where he played rugby. 40, and attended Richmond Road Primary School before returning to the U.S. 39. Dwayne's father, Rocky Johnson. Johnson's father was a black Nova Scotian with a small amount of Irish ancestry. 41, 42, 43, and his mother is Samoan. 44, 45, 46. His father and Tony Atlas were the first black tag team champions in WWE history, in 1983. 47, 48. Johnson's uncle Ricky was also a wrestler. 49. His mother is the adopted daughter of Peter Mavia, who was also a professional wrestler. 50. Johnson's maternal grandmother Leah was one of the first female pro wrestling promoters, taking over Polynesian Pacific Pro Wrestling after her husband's death in 1982 and managing it until 1988. 51, 52. Through his maternal grandfather Mavia, Johnson is a non-blood relative of the Anoa'i wrestling family. 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. In 2008, he inducted his father and grandfather into the WWE Hall of Fame. 58. Johnson attended Montclair Elementary School in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then moved to Hamden, Connecticut, where he attended Shepherd Glen Elementary School and then Hamden Middle School. 59, 60. He attended President William McKinley High School in Honolulu and then Glencliff High School and McGavock High School, both in Nashville, Tennessee, and then Freedom High School in Bethlehem Township, Pennsylvania, in the Lehigh Valley region of the state, where he graduated in 1990. 61. At Freedom High School, Johnson initially struggled and was drawn into a culture of conflict and petty crime. By age 17, he had been arrested several times for fighting, theft, and check fraud, and was suspended 2 weeks for fighting. 62. An article in the local newspaper labeled him a troubled teenager with a history of run-ins with police. But Freedom High School football coach Jody Quick saw athletic potential in Johnson, and recruited him to join the school's football team, where he played defensive tackle, an experience that proved to be a significant personal transformation for Johnson. My thought process started to change. That's when I started thinking about goals and what I wanted to accomplish, he has since said about his high school football experience. 19. In addition to playing football, Johnson also was a member of Freedom High School's track and field and wrestling teams. 35. By his senior year at Freedom High School, Johnson had played only 2 years of football, but was offered a full athletic scholarship offer from the University of Miami, whose football program was beginning to emerge as one of the nation's top-level NCAA Division I teams. 19. Football career. College career. Dwayne Johnson. Miami Hurricanes, number 94. Position defensive tackle. Major criminology and physiology. Personal information. Height 6 feet 5 in, 1.96 m. Weight 253 pounds 115 kilograms. Career history. College. Miami, FL, 1990 to 1994. High school Freedom High School. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Career highlights and awards. National champion, 1991. As he did in high school, Johnson continued to play defensive tackle at the University of Miami, where he was a member of the Miami Hurricanes 1991 team, which won that year's national championship. 63-35. Despite playing 4 years there, however, Johnson found himself behind elite players on the depth chart, including future NFL star and Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee Warren Sapp, and appeared mostly in backup roles. 64-65 in his time at Miami, Johnson played in 39 games with 1 start. He recorded 4.5 sacks and 77 tackles. 65. In 1995, Johnson graduated with a Bachelor of General Studies and a dual major in Criminology and Physiology. 3. He was also one of the university's most prolific student speakers in the Miami area community, frequently delivering positive messages about his own struggles and encouraging students to remain in school and avoid the dangers of drug use. 66. Canadian Football League. After graduating, Johnson was signed by the Calgary Stampeders of the Canadian Football League. Calgary moved him from defensive tackle to linebacker. He was assigned to Calgary's practice roster, but was cut 2 months into Calgary's 1995 season. 35-67-68. Professional wrestling career. Early career, 1996. Part of a series on professional wrestling. History. Notable promotions. Notable men. Notable women. Notable tag teams and stables. By region. Styles. Concepts. Culture. Media outlets. Controversies. Lists. Related topics. Vid. After being cut by Calgary, Johnson began his professional wrestling career the next year, in 1996. 35 veteran wrestler Pat Patterson secured several tryout matches for Johnson with the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, in 1996. Wrestling at first under his real name, Johnson defeated the Brooklyn Brawler at a house show on March 10, '69 and lost matches to Chris Candido and Owen Hart. 39 After wrestling at Jerry Lawler's United States Wrestling Association under the name Flex Kavanaugh and winning the USWA Tag Team Championship twice with his partner Bart Sawyer in the summer of 1996, Johnson was signed to a WWF contract. He received additional training from Tom Pritchard, alongside H.M. Albrecht and Mark Henry. 539. World Wrestling Federation / World Wrestling Entertainment. Intercontinental Champion, 1996 to 1997. Johnson made his WWF debut as Rocky Maivia, a combination of his father and grandfather's ring names, although announcers acknowledged his real name. 70 He was initially reluctant to take this ring name but was persuaded by Vince McMahon and Jim Ross. 52-71 He was given the nickname the Blue Chipper, and to play up his lineage, he was hyped as the WWF's first third-generation wrestler. To a clean-cut face character, Maivia was pushed heavily from the start despite his wrestling inexperience. He debuted on Monday Night Raw as a member of Mark Marrow's entourage on November 4, 1996. 72 His first match came at Survivor Series on November 17, in an 8-man elimination tag match. He was the sole survivor and eliminated the final 2 members of the opposing team, Crush and Goldust. 73 On February 13, 1997, he won the Intercontinental Championship from Hunter Hearst Helmsley on a Thursday edition of Monday Night Raw. 74-75-76 Maivia then successfully defended the title against Helmsley at In Your House 13, Final 4 on February 16. Johnson's first WrestleMania match came at WrestleMania 13 on March 23, where he was victorious in his Intercontinental Championship defense against the Sultan. WWF fans started to reject his character and push from the company. 77 He defeated Bret Hart by disqualification in a title defense on the March 31 episode of Raw is War. 78 Behind the scenes, Hart mentored Johnson for his first year in WWF 79 and refused to be booked to take the title from him. 80 On April 20, at In Your House 14, Revenge of the Taker, he lost to Savio Vega by countout but retained the title. Audiences became increasingly hostile toward Maivia, with chants of Die, Rocky, Die and Rocky Sucks being heard during his matches. 152. After losing the Intercontinental Championship to Owen Hart on the April 28 episode of Raw is War 81, Mabia suffered a legitimate knee injury in a match against Mankind in June and spent several months recovering. 1. Nation of Domination, 1997 to 1998. See also, Nation of Domination. Upon returning in August, Mabia turned heel by lashing out at fans who had been booing him and joining Farouk, D'Lo Brown, and Kama in the stable called the Nation of Domination. 82. He then refused to acknowledge the Rocky Mabia name, instead referring to himself in the third person as The Rock, though he would still be billed as The Rock Rocky Mabia until 1998. The Rock would then regularly insult the audience, WWF performers, and interviewers in his promos. 82. At D-Generation X, In Your House on December 7, Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated The Rock in under 6 minutes to retain the Intercontinental Championship. 83. The next night on Raw is War, Austin was ordered by Mr. McMahon to defend the title in a rematch, but forfeited it to The Rock instead, handing him the title belt before hitting him with the Stone Cold Stunner. 84-85. The Rock feuded with Austin and Ken Shamrock through the end of 1997 and beginning of 1998. 86-87. On January 19, 1998, at the Royal Rumble, The Rock defeated Shamrock by disqualification to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Later that night, he entered the Royal Rumble match and lasted until the final two before he was eliminated by Stone Cold Steve Austin. On March 29, at WrestleMania 14, he defeated Shamrock by disqualification once again to retain the title. The next night, on Raw is War, The Rock debuted a new Intercontinental Championship design and would later overthrow Farouk as leader of the Nation of Domination to spark a feud between the two. He then successfully defended the Intercontinental Championship against Farouk at Over the Edge, In Your House on May 31. The stable would then refer to themselves as simply The Nation. 88. The Rock and The Nation then feuded with Triple H and D-Generation X, DX, with the two stable leaders first meeting in the quarter-final of the 1998 King of the Ring tournament, which The Rock won. At King of the Ring on June 28, The Rock defeated Dan Severn in the semi-final match and lost to rival Ken Shamrock in the final. The Rock then resumed his feud with Triple H, as the two had a 2 out of 3 falls match at Fully Loaded, In Your House on July 26 for the Intercontinental Championship, which The Rock retained in controversial fashion. 89. This led to a ladder match at SummerSlam on August 30, where The Rock lost the title to Triple H. 90. In the latter half of 1998, The Rock saw a big uptick in fan support. He also started consolidating his famous persona during this time, which would last until 2000. 91. His popularity caused him to be booked in a feud with fellow Nation members Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown, turning babyface in the process. Henry defeated The Rock at Judgment Day, In Your House on October 18 after interference from Brown, effectively breaking up the stable. 92-93. WWF Champion and Rise to Superstardom, 1998 to 2000. See also, The Corporation and Rock and Sock Connection. As part of The Corporation, The Rock feuded with Stone Cold Steve Austin and stole Austin's personalized WWF Championship and his Smoking Skull belt. The Rock was then entered into the Deadly Game tournament for the vacant WWF Championship. The finals occurred at Survivor Series on November 15, where The Rock defeated Vince McMahon's associate, Mankind, to win his first WWF Championship. 94-95. A double turn then occurred as The Rock turned heel again after allying with Vince and Shane McMahon as the crown jewel of their stable, The Corporation, after the McMahons betrayed Mankind. 94-96. On December 13, at the pay-per-view named after him, Rock Bottom, In Your House, The Rock had a rematch with Mankind for the WWF Championship. Mankind appeared to win the match when The Rock passed out to the mandible claw submission move, but Vince McMahon ruled that since The Rock did not tap out, he retained his title. 96-97. In the main event of the January 4, 1999, episode of Raw is War, Mankind defeated The Rock for the championship after interference from Stone Cold Steve Austin. 98. Then at the Royal Rumble on January 24, The Rock regained the title in an I Quit match, a type of submission match that only ends if one of the combatants says I quit on a microphone. Intended to show a vicious streak in The Rock's character, The Rock hit Mankind in the head with a steel chair 11 times instead of the scripted 5 shots, already being risky. Most wrestling matches in the Attitude Era involving steel chairs had at most 2 or 3 shots to the head. After the 5th shot, Mankind was still ringside instead of 2/3 up the entrance ramp where he was supposed to be, and after the 11th shot, which knocked Mankind out, a recording of Mankind saying I quit from an earlier interview was played over the public address system. 99-100. On January 31, during an episode of Sunday Night Heat, The Rock and Mankind participated in an empty arena match, a match that took place in an arena with 22,000 empty seats where any part of the facility could be used to contest the match. After 20 minutes of chaotic brawling in the ring, the stands, a kitchen, the catering area, an office, the arena corridors and finally a basement loading area, Mankind pinned The Rock using a forklift truck to win the WWF Championship. 101. The two faced off again, at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, in your house on February 14, in a last man standing match which ended in a draw, meaning Mankind retained the title. Their feud ended on the February 15 Raw is War, when The Rock won his third WWF Championship in a ladder match after a debuting Big Show interfered on his behalf. 102-103. The Rock then lost the WWF Championship to Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 15 on March 28. 104. The Rock's popularity was fueled by his charisma and speaking abilities, which led to many catchphrases and merchandising opportunities. The Rock's popularity continued to grow and audiences still cheered for him even though he was a heel. He then lost the title rematch against Stone Cold Steve Austin at Backlash, in your house on April 25. 105. The next night on Raw is War, The Rock was fired from the corporation after he was betrayed by Shane McMahon, turning him face again and starting a feud with Triple H, The Undertaker, and the corporate ministry. On April 29, 1999, WWF aired the pilot episode of SmackDown, a term derived from one of The Rock's catchphrases. In the episode, The Rock continued his feud with the corporate ministry. This led to a match with Triple H, at Over the Edge on May 23, which The Rock won 106, and a match for the WWF Championship against The Undertaker, at King of the Ring on June 27, which The Rock lost. 107. The Rock then lost a number 1 contenders match to Triple H, at Fully Loaded on July 25, after interference from Mr. Ass Billy Gunn. 108. The Rock then defeated Gunn in a Kiss My Ass match at SummerSlam on August 22. The Rock was also given the privilege of having his own signature match, like The Undertaker with the Buried Alive match, Kane with the Inferno match and Mankind with the Boiler Room Brawl. The Brahma Bull Rope match, a variant of a strap match, was a normal singles match where the components are tied together with the rope used for cattle farming, and the rope and its attached cowbell could both be used as weapons. The Rock contested this match twice, both times in Texas, vs Triple H in Dallas, and vs Al Snow in Houston. 109. Shortly after SummerSlam, The Rock began teaming with former opponent Mankind and the two became known as the Rock and Sock Connection. 110. They became WWF Tag Team Champions for the first time after defeating The Undertaker and Big Show for the titles on the August 30 episode of Raw is War. 111-112. The two performed a number of critically acclaimed comedic skits together, including one called This Is Your Life, which saw Mankind bring parody versions of people from The Rock's past on television, such as his high school girlfriend and his high school football coach, only to have The Rock insult them. The segment earned an 8.4 Nielsen rating, one of the highest ratings ever for a Raw segment. 113. The two lost the titles back to Undertaker and Big Show on the September 9 episode of SmackDown. and won them back from them on the September 20th episode of Raw is War. 114-115 The Rock and Mankind then lost the titles to the New Age Outlaws on the very next episode of SmackDown. 116 The Rock and Mankind would win the tag titles for the third and final time after beating the New Age Outlaws on the October 14th episode of SmackDown, before losing the titles to the Holly Cousins on the October 18th episode of Raw is War. 117-118 At the Royal Rumble on January 23, 2000, The Rock entered the Royal Rumble match and was one of the final two remaining, along with Big Show. In an attempt at a false finish, Big Show intended to throw The Rock over the top rope in a running powerslam-like position, before The Rock countered the move on the ring apron, sending Big Show to the floor before re-entering the ring as the winner. 119 But The Rock's feet accidentally hit the floor during the reversal attempt, though those watching the event on television did not see that. This was played up in the storyline as Big Show provided additional video footage showing it and claimed to be the rightful winner. The Rock's #1 contendership for the WWF Championship was then put on the line against Big Show at No Way Out on February 27, which Big Show won after Shane McMahon interfered. 120 The Rock then defeated Big Show on the March 13th episode of Raw is War, to regain the right to face the WWF Champion, Triple H, at WrestleMania 2000 on April 2, in a fatal four-way elimination match, also including Big Show and Mick Foley. 121-122 Each wrestler had a McMahon in his corner. Triple H had his wife, Stephanie, Foley had Linda, The Rock had Vince and Big Show had Shane. 122-123 The Rock lasted until the final two but was eliminated by Triple H after Vince betrayed him by hitting him with a chair. 123-124 Due to his image at the time, a Magic, the Gathering deck archetype was named after him. 125 Record-breaking World Champion, 2000 to 2002. The Rock as the WWF Champion in 2000. In the following weeks, The Rock continued his feud with Triple H and eventually won his fourth WWF Championship, which he won on April 30, at Backlash, after Stone Cold Steve Austin intervened on his behalf. 126-127 The following night on Raw is War, The Rock successfully defended his title against Shane McMahon in a steel cage match. On May 21, at Judgment Day, The Rock faced Triple H in an Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee. 128 With the score tied at 5 falls each, and with seconds left on the time limit, The Rock was disqualified when The Undertaker attacked Triple H, thus giving Triple H the 6-5 win and the title. 128-129 The Rock won the WWF Championship for a fifth time at King of the Ring on June 25 by scoring the winning pin in a six-man tag team match, teaming with Kane and The Undertaker against Shane McMahon, Triple H, and Vince McMahon, whom he pinned. 130-131 The Rock successfully defended the championship against Chris Benoit on July 23 at Fully Loaded. The next month, he successfully defended his title against Kurt Angle and Triple H at SummerSlam on August 27. The Rock had another successful title defense against Benoit, Kane, and The Undertaker on September 24 at Unforgiven. 132. The Rock then lost the WWF Championship to Kurt Angle at No Mercy on October 22, 2000. 133 The next month, The Rock feuded with Ricochet and defeated him at Survivor Series on November 19. 134 The Rock wrestled a six-man Hell in a Cell match for the WWF Championship at Armageddon on December 10, which Angle won to retain the title. 135 On the December 18 episode of Raw is War, The Rock won the WWF Tag Team Championship with The Undertaker, defeating Edge and Christian, before losing the titles back to Edge and Christian the next night at a SmackDown taping. 136 The Rock continued to feud with Angle over the WWF Championship, culminating at No Way Out on February 25, 2001, where he pinned Angle to win the WWF Championship for a sixth time. 137-138 The Rock then feuded with the Royal Rumble winner, Stone Cold Steve Austin, whom he lost the title to at WrestleMania X7 on April 1 after Austin allied with Vince McMahon, who interfered on his behalf. 104 On the next night's Raw is War, during a steel cage title rematch, Triple H attacked The Rock, allying with McMahon and Austin and helping Austin retain the championship. 139 Austin and Triple H then formed a tag team called the Power Trip. 140 While The Rock was indefinitely suspended in storyline, Johnson used this time off to act in The Scorpion King. The Rock taunting Rob Van Dam at ringside at WWF Raw, October 2001. The Rock returned in late July when the WWF was feuding with rival promotions World Championship Wrestling, WCW, and Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW, during what is known as the Invasion storyline. In reality, WCW was purchased by Vince McMahon and the WWF, and ECW had gone out of business in early 2001. Many former WCW and ECW wrestlers were then brought onto WWF television and formed the alliance to compete with the WWF in storyline. The alliance and Vince McMahon then both attempted to persuade The Rock to join their team. The Rock then aligned with McMahon and the WWF. The next month, The Rock defeated Booker T at SummerSlam on August 19 to win the WCW Championship for the first time. 141-142 He later lost the title to Chris Jericho at No Mercy on October 21. 143-144 The next night on Raw, he teamed with Jericho to win the WWF Tag Team Championship from the Dudley Boys. The two then lost the tag titles to Booker T and Test on the November 1, 2001, episode of SmackDown. 145 The Rock defeated Jericho on the November 5 episode of Raw for his second WCW Championship. 146. As part of the WWF's battle against the Alliance, The Rock wrestled in a winner-takes-all 5-on-5 elimination tag team match at Survivor Series on November 18 where the losing team's company would be dissolved in storyline. He was a member of Team WWF along with Chris Jericho, The Undertaker, Kane, and Big Show. The Alliance's team consisted of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, Booker T, Rob Van Dam, and Shane McMahon. In the end, it came down to a one-on-one between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Rock seemed to have the upper hand, until his teammate Jericho entered the ring and attacked The Rock. Austin tried to capitalize on this by pinning The Rock, but Kurt Angle revealed his true allegiance by attacking Austin. The Rock then pinned Austin, giving Team WWF the victory and forcing the Alliance to disband. The Rock's WCW Championship was renamed the Unbranded World Championship following the Alliance's loss. 147 At the next pay-per-view, Vengeance on December 9, The Rock lost the World Championship to Jericho, who would then unify the WWF and World titles later that night. 148 The Rock then unsuccessfully challenged Jericho for the now undisputed WWF Championship at Royal Rumble on January 20, 2002. 149. The Rock doing his signature pose before wrestling Hulk Hogan, bottom right, at WrestleMania X8, March 2002. At the next pay-per-view, No Way Out on February 17, The Rock defeated The Undertaker in a singles match. The event also saw the WWF debut of the famed WCW faction New World Order, NWO, which at the time consisted of Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. 150 This later led to a match between The Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania X8 on March 17. The match was billed as Icon vs. Icon, with both men representing the top tier of two generations of wrestling. Ultimately The Rock pinned Hogan at WrestleMania X8 to win the match. 151 Despite The Rock portraying a heroic character and Hogan a villain, a portion of the crowd attending the Skydome was rooting heavily for Hogan. 152-153. In an interview in 2013, Hogan said he and The Rock changed the style of the match on the fly based on the crowd's response. 154. After the introduction of the first ever brand extension, the WWF held a draft lottery on the March 25, 2002, episode of Raw. The Rock was the number 1 overall pick, going to the SmackDown brand before taking a sabbatical from wrestling. 155. The Rock made a surprise return on a June episode of Raw before going to his assigned brand of SmackDown. There, he was named the number 1 contender for the WWE Undisputed Championship, which he won for a record-setting 7th time at Vengeance on July 21, by defeating Kurt Angle and then champion The Undertaker in a triple threat match. 156-157. The Rock successfully defended the title at the Global Warning event on August 10 against Triple H and Brock Lesnar after pinning Triple H. 158. On August 25, at SummerSlam, The Rock lost the WWE Undisputed Championship to Lesnar along with the record for the youngest WWE champion, which he had set in 1998. 159. In 2018, writing for ESPN.com, Sean Coyle noted in a retrospective review of the event, that following his victory over Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania X8, The Rock started to see a dip in fan support, and that dip turned into a plunge by the time The Rock had his match with Lesnar at SummerSlam because fans knew he was leaving WWE to pursue an acting career. 160. As evidenced by the negative crowd response during his match with Lesnar. 161. After SummerSlam ended, The Rock was visibly angry at the crowd reaction. When he tried to do a post-show speech for the crowd, the fans booed him. He eventually cut a short promo, declaring that Sing Along with The Rock is over. 162. The Rock then took time off to kickstart his acting career. 163. Hollywood Rock, 2003. The Rock defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin, left, in Austin's final match at WrestleMania 19 in March 2003. The Rock returned on the January 30, 2003, episode of SmackDown, to set up another match with Hulk Hogan at No Way Out on February 23. 164. Because of negative fan reaction during previous matches as a result of his budding acting career, The Rock turned heel. He also started a new persona that has been called Hollywood Rock, with a new look and a shaved head. 165. 166. The Rock defeated Hogan at No Way Out before moving to the Raw brand. 167. There, he had various small feuds, including one with the Hurricane. 168. He also began performing rock concerts, segments in which he played the guitar and mocked WWE performers and fans in song. 169. After failing to win a number 1 contendership for the World Heavyweight Championship, The Rock went into another program with Stone Cold Steve Austin. This led to a match at WrestleMania 19 on March 30, which called back to their previous 2 WrestleMania encounters, both of which Austin had won. 170. The Rock won after delivering 3 consecutive rock bottoms, ending their long-running rivalry in what turned out to be Austin's final match, until WrestleMania 38. 171. The next night, Raw was billed as the Rock Appreciation Night, in honor of his victory over Austin. That night, he was attacked by a debuting Goldberg. 172. At Backlash on April 27, Goldberg defeated The Rock, who then briefly left WWE to film Walking Tall. 173. Final feuds and departure, 2003 to 2004. On the June 2 episode of Raw, The Rock joined the highlight reel and attacked Christian and Chris Jericho with Booker T, turning face once again. 174. He would later return on the December 8 episode of Raw to help Mick Foley against La Resistance. In 2004, The Rock aided Mick Foley in his feud against Evolution 2. 175. Leading to a reunion of The Rock and Sock Connection. They lost against Ric Flair, Randy Orton, and Batista in a handicap match at WrestleMania XX on March 14, 2004, when Orton pinned Foley after an RKO. 176. This was Johnson's final wrestling match until November 2011. The Rock appeared in WWE sporadically following WrestleMania XX. He made returns to provide support for Eugene against Jonathan Coachman and made a cameo in his hometown of Miami, where he confronted Randy Orton. On the August 23 episode of Raw, he hosted a pie-eating contest, as part of the WWE Diva Search, and ended the segment by giving Coachman a people's elbow. The Rock's contract with WWE then ended and he started his full-time acting career. 177. Non-wrestling appearances, 2007 to 2009. On March 12, 2007, The Rock appeared on a WWE show after nearly 3 years, via a pre-taped promo shown during Raw. He correctly predicted that Bobby Lashley would defeat Umaga at WrestleMania 23 in Donald Trump's and Vince McMahon's Battle of the Billionaires hair versus hair match. 178. On March 29, 2008, Johnson inducted his father Rocky Johnson and grandfather Peter Maivia into the WWE Hall of Fame. 179. His next appearance was through a pre-taped promo on October 2, 2009, during the Decade of SmackDown. 180. Independent Circuit, 2009. On September 30, 2009, The Rock appeared at a World Extreme Wrestling, WXW, show to support the professional wrestling debut of Sarona Snuka, the daughter of his longtime friend and mentor Jimmy Snuka. 181. Return to WWE. Feud with John Cena, 2011 to 2013. The Rock in the ring as WrestleMania XXVII host, April 2011. On February 14, 2011, The Rock was announced as the host of WrestleMania XXVII on April 3, 2011, appearing live on Raw. During a lengthy promo, he addressed the fans and started a feud with John Cena. 182-183. After numerous appearances via satellite, The Rock appeared live on the Raw before WrestleMania XXVII to confront Cena. After he and Cena exchanged insults, The Miz and Alex Riley appeared and attacked The Rock. He fended off Miz and Riley, only for Cena to blindside him with an attitude adjustment. 184. The Rock and John Cena left on Raw, agreeing to a match at WrestleMania XXVII 1 year in advance. On April 3, at WrestleMania XXVII, The Rock opened the show by cutting a promo. After appearing in numerous backstage segments, The Rock came to ringside to restart the main event between Cena and The Miz as a no disqualification match, after it had ended in a double countout. As revenge for the attitude adjustment Cena had given him on Raw, The Rock hit Cena with the Rock Bottom, allowing The Miz to pin him and retain the WWE Championship. After the match, The Rock attacked The Miz and hit him with the People's Elbow. 185. The next night on Raw, The Rock and Cena agreed to a match at WrestleMania XXVII the next year. They then worked together to fend off an attack by the Core, which at the time consisted of Wade Barrett, Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, and Ezekiel Jackson. 186. The Rock appeared live on Raw in his hometown of Miami to celebrate his 39th birthday. 187. On September 16, WWE announced The Rock would wrestle in a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series tag team match, teaming with Cena at Survivor Series in November. 188. But on the October 24 episode of Raw Super Show, Cena instead suggested The Rock be his partner in a standard tag team match against The Miz and R-Truth, a team called Awesome Truth. 189. Which Rock agreed to the next week. 190. On November 14, during the special Raw Gets Rocked, The Rock appeared live, delivering rock bottoms to Mick Foley, who had been hosting a This Is Your Lifestyle segment for Cena, and later both members of Awesome Truth. 191 The Rock and Cena defeated Awesome Truth on November 20th at Survivor Series, when The Rock pinned The Miz. After the match, The Rock gave Cena a rock bottom. 192. The Rock celebrating his victory at WrestleMania XXVIII, April 2012. Leading up to WrestleMania, The Rock and Cena had several verbal confrontations on Raw Super Show. 193-194 On the March 12, 2012, episode of Raw Super Show, The Rock hosted his first rock concert segment since 2004, mocking Cena in his songs. 195 On April 1st, at WrestleMania XXVIII, The Rock defeated Cena in the main event after countering Cena's attempt at a people's elbow into a rock bottom and pinning Cena. 196 This event broke the record for biggest professional wrestling pay-per-view parade. The following night on Raw Super Show, The Rock praised Cena, calling their match an honor. He then vowed to once again become WWE Champion. 195. On July 23, at Raw 1000, The Rock announced he would wrestle for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. During the show, he encountered then reigning WWE Champion CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and John Cena, all of whom expressed a desire to face him. The Rock later saved Cena from an assault by Big Show, only to be laid out by CM Punk. 197 On the January 7, 2013, episode of Raw, The Rock returned to confront his Royal Rumble opponent CM Punk. 198 On January 11, he made his first SmackDown appearance in 10 years, getting into an altercation with Team Rhodes Scholars, resulting in him delivering a rock bottom to Damian Sandow and a people's elbow to Cody Rhodes. 199 The Rock closed out the 20th anniversary episode of Raw, on January 14, with one of his rock concerts, leading to a brawl with CM Punk. 200 The following week on Raw, The Rock was attacked by The Shield. Vince McMahon then asserted that if The Shield attacked The Rock in his title match with CM Punk, Punk would be stripped of the WWE Championship. 201. The Rock revealing the brand new WWE Championship design on WWE Raw, February 2013. On January 27, at the Royal Rumble, CM Punk would seemingly defeat The Rock after the arena lights went out and someone attacked The Rock. Vince McMahon then came out and was about to strip Punk of the championship. However, at The Rock's request, he instead restarted the match. This culminated in The Rock defeating Punk to win his 8th WWE Championship. 202 Punk received a title rematch with The Rock, at Elimination Chamber on February 17, 2013, with the added stipulation that if The Rock was disqualified or counted out, he would still lose the WWE Championship. The Rock would pin Punk to defeat him and retain the championship. 203 The following night on Raw, The Rock unveiled a new WWE Championship design, with a different center plate and removable customizable side plates which had his Brahma Bull logo. 204 The Rock then resumed his rivalry with John Cena, who won that year's Royal Rumble to set up a rematch of the previous WrestleMania match between the two at WrestleMania 29, only this time with the WWE Championship on the line. 205-206. On April 7, at WrestleMania 29, The Rock lost the WWE Championship to Cena, ending his reign at 70 days. 207 Despite being advertised for Raw after WrestleMania, where it was stated that The Rock was still entitled a rematch for the WWE Championship. 208 The Rock did not appear because of a real injury sustained during his match with Cena, in which his abdominal and adductor tendons tore from his pelvis. 209 Johnson underwent surgery on April 23 to reattach the torn tendons. 210 Post-surgery, it made his abdomen look far less muscular than the rest of his body, notably his arms. 211. Part-time appearances, 2014 to 2023. The Rock, right, confronts Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania XXX, April 2014. In April 2014, The Rock appeared in the opening segment of WrestleMania XXX along with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan. 212 On the October 6th episode of Raw, The Rock made a surprise appearance to confront Rusev and Lana. This resulted in The Rock clearing Rusev from the ring. On the 15th anniversary of SmackDown on October 10th, The Rock would make an appearance in a backstage segment, where he and Triple H would reminisce on their past feud. 213. The Rock appeared at the 2015 Royal Rumble event on January 25, 2015, during the main event match, where he helped his relative Roman Reigns fend off Big Show and Kane after Reigns eliminated them from the match. Reigns then won the match and The Rock endorsed him in the ring. 214 215 216 The Rock appeared at WrestleMania 31 on March 29, 2015, alongside Ronda Rousey, getting into an in-ring altercation with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Rock and Rousey prevailed after he attacked Triple H and she overpowered McMahon. 217 On June 27, The Rock appeared at a live event in Boston, where he confronted Bo Dallas and gave him a rock bottom. 218. The Wyatt family confronting The Rock at WrestleMania 32, April 2016. On the January 25, 2016, episode of Raw, The Rock was in a segment that saw him converse with The Miz, Big Show, Lana, and Rusev before he and his relatives, the Usos, got into an altercation with then WWE Tag Team Champions, The New Day. 219 The Rock appeared at WrestleMania 32 on April 3, 2016, where he announced that WWE had broken the all-time WrestleMania attendance record before being interrupted by the Wyatt family. The Rock got into a verbal back and forth with Bray Wyatt before having an impromptu match with Wyatt family member Eric Rowan. The Rock won after giving Rowan a rock bottom and pinning him in 6 seconds, which set the record for the fastest win in WrestleMania history. The Rock was then aided by a returning John Cena to fend off Wyatt, Rowan, and Braun Strowman. 220. On the February 20, 2017, episode of Raw, The Rock made an untelevised appearance after the broadcast had gone off the air, where he promoted and filmed a scene for his then upcoming film Fighting with My Family. 221 On August 3, 2019, The Rock officially announced his retirement from professional wrestling. 222 On September 30, 2019, after weeks of speculation, The Rock announced that he would appear on SmackDown's 20th anniversary on October 4, 2019, marking his first appearance on SmackDown since October 2014 and his first televised appearance since April 2016. 223 At the event, he cut a promo with Becky Lynch before they were interrupted by King Corbin. After attacking Corbin, The Rock and Lynch celebrated in the ring. 224. On September 15, 2023, The Rock made a surprise return to SmackDown, in a segment with Pat McAfee and Austin Theory, who Rock took out within the segment. This marked his first televised appearance in WWE since October 4, 2019. 225. The Final Boss, 2024, present. See also, The Bloodline. The Rock and Roman Reigns face-to-face with Cody Rhodes and Seth freakin' Rollins at WrestleMania XL, April 2024. It was teased that a former WWE champion would be appearing on the Day 1 edition of Raw on January 1, 2024. The unidentified champion was at first revealed to be Jinder Mahal, who insulted the crowd before being interrupted by The Rock in his first live appearance on Raw since 2016. 226 The two brawled and The Rock emerged victorious, after which he asked the crowd if he should sit at the head of the table in a direct reference to undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, his relative whose nickname is the head of the table. 227 228 The Rock also appeared on the February 2 episode of SmackDown, where he confronted Reigns after Royal Rumble winner Cody Rhodes decided against choosing Reigns as his WrestleMania 40 opponent to allow The Rock to face Reigns. 229 This was met by intense backlash from fans who wanted Rhodes to face Reigns. The WrestleMania XL media event on February 8 thus saw The Rock align himself with Reigns, chastise Rhodes for reversing his decision not to choose Reigns as his WrestleMania opponent, and slap Rhodes for speaking out against the Anoa'i family, of which The Rock and Reigns are both members. 231 As WWE's chief creative officer Triple H was being interviewed backstage over what had just transpired, The Rock and Reigns walked by and told him to fix it or they would, though Triple H would later appear on SmackDown to stand by Rhodes' decision. 231. The Rock with the People's Championship at the 2024 WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony in April 2024. On the February 16 episode of SmackDown, The Rock officially joined Reigns' faction The Bloodline. He also debuted a new persona that incorporated facets of his arrogant Hollywood Rock incarnation from 2003, such as insulting the audience, wearing gaudy expensive clothes, and entering the arena to a new entrance theme that began with his heroic character's music before transitioning into his Hollywood Rock music. 232 He then appeared on the March 1 episode of SmackDown, where he gave his new character the nickname of the Final Boss and issued a challenge to Rhodes and Seth freakin' Rollins. If they beat him and Reigns in a tag team match at WrestleMania Night 1, Rhodes' championship match against Reigns on Night 2 would be free of interference from the Bloodline, but if Rhodes and Rollins lost, the championship match would be contested under Bloodline rules. Rhodes and Rollins accepted the challenge the following week. On the March 25 episode of Raw, The Rock attacked Rhodes backstage, leaving him beaten and bloody in the parking lot. 233 During the 2024 WWE Hall of Fame, The Rock received a People's Championship from Muhammad Ali's wife Lani, which he would begin carrying over his shoulder whenever he appeared on screen. 234 In the Night 1 main event of WrestleMania XL, The Rock and Reigns defeated Rhodes and Rollins. 235 During the Night 2 main event between Reigns and Rhodes, multiple people interfered on behalf of both men. The Rock appeared and hit John Cena with the rock bottom after the two stared each other down, but The Undertaker then appeared and chokeslammed The Rock. Rhodes went on to defeat Reigns for the undisputed WWE Championship. 236 The following night on Raw, The Rock interrupted Rhodes' celebration to congratulate him and reveal that he would be leaving for a while, but would be coming after Rhodes when he returns. This allowed Johnson time off to film the biopic The Smashing Machine. 237 238 During his hiatus, Solo Sikoa became the new leader of the Bloodline, starting the Bloodline Civil War. 239 240 6 months later, in the main event of Bad Blood on October 5, Rhodes and Reigns teamed up to face members of the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, from which Reigns had been ousted, defeating Sikoa and Fatu with the help of a returning Jimmy Uso. Following the match, The Rock returned and stood at the top of the entrance ramp, where he silently counted to 3 and made a throat-slashing gesture to Reigns, Rhodes, and Uso before leaving. 241 The Rock returned on the Raw premiere on Netflix on January 6, 2025, thanking Rhodes for all his work as the face of the company and hugging him. Later that night, The Rock embraced Reigns after the latter defeated Sikoa to reclaim his Hula Fala and Tribal Chief title. 242 The next night at New Year's Evil, The Rock made his first appearance on the NXT brand. 243 244 He sought advice from his daughter, NXT General Manager Ava, and spoke to Ethan Page. In a promo that closed out the television special, he addressed criticism towards his actions the night before on Raw. 245 246 On the February 21 episode of SmackDown, The Rock made an appearance to announce that WrestleMania 42 would take place in New Orleans, Louisiana, where SmackDown was being taped. The Rock also called out Cody Rhodes, where he offered to elevate Rhodes as a star in exchange for Rhodes' loyalty and cryptically stated that he wanted Rhodes' soul. 247 On March 1 at Elimination Chamber, Toronto, Rhodes refused The Rock's offer, who responded by signaling Elimination Chamber match winner John Cena to attack Rhodes, leaving him beaten and bloodied in the assault. 248. Mainstream crossover. The Rock in a 2001 Vanity Fair photo shoot. The Rock appeared on Wyclef Jean's 2000 single It Doesn't Matter and in its music video. 249 250 He also recorded Pie with Slick Rick for WWF The Music, Volume 5. 251 In 1999, Johnson appeared on That 70s Show as his father Rocky Johnson. The next year, he was on Star Trek, Voyager as an alien wrestler who used The Rock's moves. 252 In 2000, he hosted Saturday Night Live, SNL, for the first time. 253 Fellow wrestlers Triple H, Big Show, and Mick Foley also appeared on the show. 254 Johnson has said the success of that episode is the reason he began receiving offers from Hollywood studios. 255 He has since hosted SNL 4 more times. In 1999, The Rock was listed number 1 on Entertainment Weekly's Top 12 Entertainers of the Year. 256 In 2000, Access Hollywood ranked him number 1 in their list of the top 10 celebrities of 2000. 257 That year, Rock was also listed in the Forbes Celebrity 100 and People magazine's 25 Most Intriguing People. 258 259 The Rock was listed on Entertainment Weekly's 101 Most Influential People in both 2000 and 2001. 260 In 2001, he was also listed on E!'s 20 Top Entertainers. 261 262 In 2002, The Rock was listed on E!'s 25 Toughest Stars. 263 In 2003, he was listed in VH1's 200 Greatest Pop Culture Icons 264 and was number 7 in People magazine's 50 Favorite TV Stars. 265. The Rock made a surprise appearance at the official Xbox unveiling during Bill Gates's keynote speech at the ongoing Consumer Electronics Show in 2001. 266 Johnson's motion picture debut was as the Scorpion King in The Mummy Returns, 2001. 267 The movie broke a 2-year record for the highest grossing single day in film history by earning $28,594,667. 268 to 253 The movie's financial success led to Johnson's first leading role in the spin-off The Scorpion King, 2002. 2 He received $5.5 million for the role and Guinness World Records named him the record holder for highest paid actor in their first leading role. 269 270. The Rock has appeared on the covers of many magazines, including Rolling Stone, Entertainment Weekly, and TV Guide. 271 272 273 He has also appeared in, and been the cover athlete for, several video games. 274 As of October 2024, his Instagram account is the 6th most followed in the world, with over 395 million followers. 275. Legacy in professional wrestling. Fans watching on as The Rock makes his entrance in 2013. The Rock has been listed as one of the all-time greatest professional wrestlers 2267 as well as one of the top draws in wrestling history. Many have placed The Rock on their Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling, including Hulk Hogan 276, Ric Flair 277 and John Cena. 278 In Cablevision's Television Beyond Broadcasting, The Rock was described as for a long time, the WWE's biggest star and probably held the greatest international appeal. 279 R.D. Reynolds stated in his book The Wrestle Crap Book of Lists that The Rock was the biggest star for WWE from 1999 until 2004. 280 The Rock's I Quit match with Mankind at the 1999 Royal Rumble event is infamous for its brutality and one of the most popular I Quit match of all times. 281 282 283 284 The Rock main event, the most bought pay-per-view worldwide in WWE history, WrestleMania XXVIII, 285 The most bought pay-per-view domestically in WWE history, WrestleMania X7, the highest rated Raw in history 286 287 The highest rated SmackDown in history 288 and was part of the highest rated cable segment in WWE history with Mankind entitled This Is Your Life, in which Mankind would honor The Rock with various gifts and reunions. 289 290 His return in 2001 had a 7.1 rating, the highest rated segment of the year. The Rock was also part of the highest rated match of the 21st century when his WWF Championship defense against Shane McMahon, on May 1, 2000, got an 8.3 rating, making it the highest rated segment of all time, behind This Is Your Life. In 2011, The Rock's return to an episode of Raw generated an average of 4.7 million viewers in the United States, with 7.4 million tuning in during his promo. 291 Raw 1000 was the highest rated Raw episode of 2012 and his segment with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan was the highest rated segment of the show. 292 In 2013, the night after The Rock won the WWE Championship, at Royal Rumble, Raw got its highest rating of that year. 293. Derived from one of his catchphrases Lay the Smackdown, WWE introduced in 1999 its second flagship program, WWE SmackDown, which became television's second longest running weekly episodic program in history. 294 The term SmackDown was included in Merriam-Webster dictionaries in 2007. 295 296 He is also known for popularizing the term jabroni, derived from jabber, although it was originally introduced by the Iron Sheik. 297 298 The Rock holds the record for most Raw shows main event in 1 year, 38 in 2000, 299 most SmackDown shows main event in 1 year, 36 in 2000, 300 and is tied with Stone Cold Steve Austin, in 2001, for most PPV shows main event in 1 year, 12 in 2000. 301 302 The Rock is also one of 2 wrestlers, the other being The Undertaker, to main event WrestleMania in 4 different decades, 1990s, 15, 1999, 2000s, WrestleMania 2000, 2000, X7, 2001, 2010s, XXVIII, 2012, 29, 2013, 2020s, XL, 2024. At the 2021 Survivor Series, WWE held a 25-man battle royal to celebrate the 25th anniversary of The Rock's WWE debut. The match was won by Omos. 303. Acting career. See also, Dwayne Johnson filmography. Johnson in April 2009. Johnson entered Hollywood and had early success due to his wrestling popularity and noted work ethic. Over his acting career, he became one of the highest paid and most successful actors in Hollywood. 304 305 306 307. Career beginnings, 1999 to 2010. He began his acting career on television while wrestling. In his first television acting job, in 1999, he portrayed his father Rocky Johnson in an episode of that 70s show called That Wrestling Show. Nearly a year later, he appeared in the Star Trek Voyager episode Tsunkatsu as an alien wrestler who fought against Seven of Nine. While Johnson was away from WWE, the company continued to sell The Rock merchandise, and he continued to be featured prominently in the opening montages of their television shows. 39. Johnson made his theatrical debut in The Mummy Returns, 2001, playing the antagonist Matthews the Scorpion King. He reprised this role in the spin-off film The Scorpion King, 2002, where he starred as the titular character. Johnson was paid $5.5 million for his leading role, putting him in the Guinness World Records for the highest salary for a first-time leading man. 308 The film was a commercial success, and despite mixed reception, Johnson's acting was praised. 309 Film critic Roger Ebert wrote, "I expect him to become a durable action star." 310. In the following years, he worked in action films The Rundown, 2003, and Walking Tall, 2004, but these films failed to gain success. He had a supporting role in the comedy Be Cool, 2005, as a homosexual bodyguard hoping to become an actor. 311 and was the primary antagonist in the horror film Doom, 2005. He also worked in the sports drama Gridiron Gang, 2006, comedy Reno 9/11, Miami, 2007, and thriller Southland Tales, 2006. He had further success by playing an arrogant famous American football player in the sports family comedy The Game Plan, 2007, Agent 23 in spy action comedy Get Smart, 2008, a cab driver in the science fiction film Race to Witch Mountain, 2009, the title character in the fantasy comedy Tooth Fairy, 2010, and a police officer in buddy cop comedy The Other Guys, 2010. Johnson returned to action genre in the unsuccessful Faster, 2010. Johnson made his voice acting debut in the 2006 video game Spy Hunter, Nowhere to Run, originally intended as a tie-in for an unproduced film. 312 He also voiced NASA astronaut Chuck in the 2009 animated sci-fi comedy Planet 51. 313 He presented the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects at the 80th Academy Awards. 314. Commercial success, 2011 to 2020. Johnson's first big box office success came in 2011, portraying Luke Hobbs in Fast 5, 2011. The film became the seventh highest grossing film of 2011. Following this, all of Johnson's projects in the 2010s decade achieved major success and established him as a bankable actor. 315 316 He next starred in the box office hit Journey to The Mysterious Island in 2012. He became known for reinvigorating film franchises after portraying Marvin F. Hinton / Roadblock in G.I. Joe, Retaliation and reprising his role as Luke Hobbs in Fast and Furious 6, 2013, 317 318 while also starring in true story films Pain and Gain, 2013, and Empire State, 2013. That same year, he hosted and produced the TNT reality competition series The Hero 319 320 and won the Favorite Male Butt Kicker Award at the 2013 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. 321 In May 2013, it was announced that he would executive produce and star in Ballers 322, an HBO comedy drama series about NFL players living in Miami. 323 By December of that year, Forbes named him the top grossing actor of 2013, with his films bringing in $1.3 billion worldwide for the year. Forbes credited the success of Fast and Furious 6, which grossed $789 million globally, and his frequent acting work as primary reasons for topping the list. 324. Johnson starred as the title character in Hercules in 2014. 325 and hosted another reality series for TNT that same year, entitled Wake Up Call, which saw him lending a helping hand to everyday people who were facing enormous challenges in their lives alongside guest experts such as Rocco DiSpirito, Jillian Michaels, and Josh Shipp. 326 In 2015, Johnson reprised his role as Luke Hobbs in Furious 7. 327 and starred in the disaster film San Andreas. In 2016, He co-starred with Kevin Hart in the action comedy Central Intelligence and had a lead voice role in the Disney animated film Moana, in which he voiced Maui. He reprised his role as Luke Hobbs in The Fate of the Furious, which was released in 2017. Johnson starred in 2 other blockbuster movies that year, Baywatch and Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle as Mitchell Mitch Buchanan and Dr. Smolder Bravestone, respectively. 329 in 2018, he starred in 2 solo box office hits Rampage and Skyscraper. Johnson star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in July 2022. Johnson's role within the Fast and Furious franchise continued with Fast and Furious Presents, Hobbs and Shaw, starring alongside co-star Jason Statham. David Leitch directed the project from a script co-written by franchise writer Chris Morgan and Drew Pearce. The film began principal photography in September 2018, and was released on July 26, 2019. Johnson reprised his role as Bravestone in Jumanji: The Next Level. With the critical and financial success of Welcome to the Jungle, production of the movie began in early 2019, and it was released on December 13, 2019. 330. Johnson's films grossed $10.6 billion in the 2010s, making him the decade's 6th highest grossing actor and the highest grossing actor outside the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 331. Career fluctuations, 2021 to 2024. In 2021, after a year-long hiatus, Johnson co-starred with Emily Blunt in Disney's Jungle Cruise as Frank Wolf. The film is based on the theme park ride of the same name. 332. How May Call It Sarah directed, with a script by Michael Green from a previous one by J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. 333. 334. In addition to his work on the film, Johnson assisted with redesigning the titular ride for all Disney theme parks. 335. Jungle Cruise was released on July 30, 2021. 336. 337. 338. On March 16, 2021, he appeared for the first time as the video game character, The Foundation, in Fortnite Battle Royale. Johnson was initially uncredited in his role, yet hinted at his involvement through a series of Instagram posts. His involvement was finally confirmed during the Chapter 2 End event on December 4, 2021, with the Foundation removing his helmet to reveal that he shared Johnson's voice and likeness. 339. Also in 2021, Johnson starred in Netflix's film Red Notice, written and directed by Ross and Marshall Thurber. It is the 3rd time that the two collaborated, after Central Intelligence and Skyscraper. 340. 341. It co-stars Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds. 342. It is the most watched film on Netflix of all time. 343. Johnson voiced Crypto the Superdog in the animated feature DC League of Super Pets, 2022, which was released theatrically in July and emerged as a success. 344. On November 14, 2019, he had announced a late 2021 release date for the superhero Black Adam film. 345. Production on Black Adam began filming in April 2021 and was released on October 21, 2022. 346. 347. He earned $22.5 million to star in the film and received millions more for producing and promoting it on social media. 348. However, the anticipated film received mixed to negative reviews and turned out to be a box office disappointment. Following the failure of Black Adam, Johnson's star power came under scrutiny, and his involvement in creative decisions faced criticism. 349. 350. In 2023, Johnson voiced his Moana character Maui in Disney crossover short film Once Upon a Studio. 351. In May 2023, Johnson reprised his role as Luke Hobbs in a cameo appearance during the mid-credits scene of Fast X. By the early 2020s, Johnson faced increasing criticism for consistently portraying similar characters, often described as charismatic, larger-than-life figures who are both physically imposing and possess a dry wit. These roles frequently involve action or adventure elements, and the characters tend to be heroic, if sometimes reluctant, protagonists. 352-353. Johnson has been a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in the Actors Branch since 2017. 354. In 2024, he presented an award alongside Bad Bunny. 355. In November 2024, Johnson reunited with director Jake Kasdan to star alongside Chris Evans, Lucy Liu, and J.K. Simmons, in the Christmas-themed action comedy Red One. 356, which didn't fare well both critically and financially. 357. However, it became one of the top-streamed movies of 2024 after its release on Amazon Prime. 358. In the same month, he reprised his voice role of Maui from Moana, 2016, in its sequel Moana 2. Despite receiving mixed reception, the film opened strongly and set several box office records. 359. It eventually emerged as the third highest grossing film of 2024. 360. Diversification, 2025, present. He was next seen portraying former MMA fighter Mark Kerr in Benny Safdie's biographical sports drama The Smashing Machine, 2025. 361. Full facial prosthetics and a wig were used to transform Johnson's appearance to resemble Kerr. 362. When asked about taking on a serious, intimate drama after years of big-budget action and comedy films, Johnson expressed excitement about finally exploring personal struggles on screen that he had never before addressed. He described the process as both frightening and liberating. 363. And is using the opportunity to pivot his brand and persona to that of an actor to be taken seriously. 364. The film premiered at the 82nd Venice International Film Festival on September 1, 2025. It received a standing ovation and a Golden Lion Award nomination. 365. 366. The film garnered positive reviews, with Nicholas Barber of the BBC describing Johnson's portrayal as impressively vulnerable. 367. The performance sparked discussions about a potential Oscar nomination for the actor. 368. 369. In 2026, he will portray Maui again in the live-action adaptation Moana, 2026. 370. In February 2025, Johnson was cast in a crime drama film directed by Martin Scorsese, alongside Leonardo DiCaprio and Emily Blunt. 371. The film will depict the mafia's influence in Hawaii, with Johnson portraying an aspiring mob boss's rise within the criminal underworld. 372. He will re-team with Safdie for the film Lizard Music, based on the Daniel Pinkwater teen novel of the same name. 373. Producer. In 2012, Johnson founded his production company 7 Bucks Productions. 18. Though originally attached as producer and star, Johnson will now serve solely as the former on a film adaptation of the Jansen Directive. John Cena will fill the leading role, with Akiva Goldsman attached as screenwriter. 374. Additionally, he will produce and star in a Netflix-exclusive film titled John Henry and the Statesman, as the titular folklore hero. The film will be directed by Jake Kasdan, from a script by Kasdan and Tom Wheeler. With the first official teaser trailer released in October 2018, the project marks Kasdan's and Johnson's third collaboration, after Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle and Jumanji, The Next Level. 375. In 2019, Johnson produced and appeared as himself in Fighting with My Family, a comedy drama about Saraya Bevis and her family, who are also professional wrestlers. 376. 377. Johnson will co-produce and star in The King, a film about King Kamehameha Konuiakea, founder and first ruler of the Kingdom of Hawaii. The project will be directed by Robert Zemeckis from a script by Randall Wallace. The movie will be comparable to Braveheart in tone, given Wallace's work on both films, and will depict the King's role in resolving the wars among the islands of Hawaii. The King was scheduled to begin production in 2020, but was halted by the COVID-19 pandemic. 378 Johnson is also attached to produce/star in a sequel to Big Trouble in Little China. 380 as well as project under development with Shane Black focusing on a new interpretation of Doc Savage. 381. In